Right. Let's get on to some coffee time. I'll stick my headphones on so I can hear when you redeem things. I can do that now. I got my wireless headphones. It's all new. It's all fancy. That camera's moved. I think. Or is it? No, you've moved. Right. Welcome to coffee time, where I'm going to be making some coffee, talking about coffee, and just generally chatting. I think that means not yet. Okay, fair enough. I am not yet awake according to the Magic 8 Ball. Fair enough. Today we are, well, unless anyone has any objections, I'm going to be making an espresso in my machine over here. This one, just off camera. There. And then I'm going to do one of the Bison coffee bag filter thingies. Was that a knock at the door?
Hello.
Hello.
Very sorry to interrupt. Is it safe for a Neo to come?
Oh, it is safe for a Neo. Should we have a little Neo introduction?
Yes.
Neo. Come here. Oh, he got a new ball today, so he's very happy. Come on.
I'll be back soon.
Come here. Oh, yes, I know. You don't want to be picked up. I know. Hey there. Just a quick reminder. This is a recording of a stream I did on Twitch. If you like this and want more live content, come join the chat and the great community over on Twitch. I stream every week, Monday, Friday, and Sundays. Or follow me on my socials for any changes or extra streams. Okay, thanks, and here's the video. There he is. Oh, there's my boy. You're probably going to be rubbing against the mic, but whatever. Look at him. He's very happy. He's got a new blue ball. You going to sit in here with me while I make coffee and do Lego? Hey? You don't know what's going on, do you? You just want to be put down. There you go, on the floor. Do you want me to move your bed? There. Why don't you sit over there? He doesn't know what's going on. A baby. A precious baby. Right. Yes. So, we're going to be doing an espresso. I'm going to be doing one of these weird coffee bag things. As you can see there. We did these a few months ago. God, I can't even remember. Hey, it's all on my YouTube if you want to watch that. But we'll go over it again. These are a present from a friend who went to Japan and came with the little clay bean thing, which I will go over. And came with actually some beans I haven't tried yet. We need to try those beans. I can't play with your toy. I'm streaming. Oh, fine, go on. That's it. Yes, yes. You sit on your bed. There we go. Should we just... There he is on the bed. I can't move the camera too much. Right, but first, let's do an espresso. Possibly we will froth some milk. Yes. Now, let me get my beans out and weigh. My espresso basket is 20 grams, so we need some 20 grams of beans. That's a little over. Roughly 20 grams. Let's stick it in my grinder. This is going to be loud, I do apologise. Oh. The mic wire is pulling. There we go. Any good? Is what any good? Do I like to read? Have I read Legends in Latte? No. You think I'd like it because of coffee? What is that? I am Googling. Is it just like D&D and coffee? I think my lav mic just died. At what point did it die? Is the battery dead? I think the battery's dead. Hold on. I can jerry-rig this. Yes, what was the last thing I said? Oh, I was giving you such in-depth descriptions of coffee, and it was great. Right, let me see if I can get this lav mic charging while I'm using it. That's what I get for forgetting to charge it last week. Right. Testing. Right. That appears to be working. I'm just going to have to stick my battery charger in my pocket. Start again. All good. Make another coffee. It's fine. Can you post a link? I did say yes. You can post a link. You could join the Discord and post it there if you want to do that. That's fine. But if it's a YouTube thing, I will. I'll get it up and maybe we'll watch it in a second. Just make sure it doesn't play. Good. Oh, a Cubano. It's a Cubano coffee. Yes. Well, I can definitely talk about that. I haven't done one of those. I really should do one of those. Right. Anyway, what I was saying was 20 grams of coffee goes into the grinder. We do a little grind. Hopefully you heard that part. The beans I'm using are the Fazenda Furnas Monmouth coffee. Highly recommend. They're very universal. Like they work in espressos. They work in AeroPresses. They work in well, pretty much everything I have. They're a great bean to have. They're a dark roast, but they're not like super dark like Starbucks. They're what I would call dark roast, because Starbucks and all the other big coffee chains tend to go for what is an Italian sort of dark roast, which is just mega dark. It's so dark, almost burnt too much. But yes, very highly recommend Monmouth, and at least this one anyway. They've got some great coffees over there. Is my mic still working? It is. Good. So what I did was, hopefully you can see this. I have a 20-gram basket here. I put a paper filter underneath it. All the paper filter does is help the water distribute a bit better. Really, you don't need it. You don't need it. I put it in because I like to. Then I get my little distribution tool here and break up any big clumps. So a big clump is bad because the water won't penetrate it as well, and it'll create channels, and channeling is the worst thing you can do in this sort of method, because you have water running over coffee too much and not into other coffee, because like a river coming through mountainside, it finds the easiest path. So you need good distribution of water through the whole thing. Hence, breaking up the big clumps with my little distribution tool, which is just a cork and some, I think they're acupuncture needles or 3D printer cleaning nozzle cleaning needle things. They're basically the same thing. As long as they're stainless steel and food safe, it works. I don't have any of the fancy toys yet. Don't need any fancy toys. You just need to make sure there's no big clumps, that's all. So there we go. Give that a little bit of a hit. What did you just do? What was that? You getting a bit too excited? You just knocked over BD1. He's not even built yet. Someone's getting a bit too excited with his new toy. And then, right, okay, we get our little tamper unit. And this one's got a nice little rim on it, as you can see, as you push it down, so it's always level. Stick it down. You need it level because if it's not level, again, water channels, you get a nice little flat bed like that. And that's what you want. And then I've got a little puck screen thing that sits on top. And basically what that does is, again, helps water distribute a bit better. So if it's distributed correctly at the top and at the bottom, it should hopefully be correct all the way through. Doesn't mean it is, but it helps. But the main reason I use that is because it keeps the machine clean, because there's a barrier between the coffee grinds and the where the water gets pushed in, and it just means I don't have to clean bits of coffee from the machine as much. So that's why I put that on mainly. And here's my little machine, my little coffee machine here. Let's get some light on there. And then that will just hit in there, but I need to do a little cooling flush because this is a heat exchanger machine. And you see all that steam that just came out? Steam is bad, it's too hot for the coffee. It'll burn the coffee. You want it about 90, I think it's 96-ish. Depends on the, it really does depend on the roast level, but you want it mid-90s, not 100 degrees, which obviously steam is. So we do a little cooling flush, make sure some water's coming through at that temperature. And then we lock that in. Let me get you a good angle on this. There we go. Wait for the machine to tell me it's ready. It's taking its time. It's not usually this slow. Are you okay there? You okay? Come on, show me that green light. Performance issues. There it is. And then we kick it off. Now you should see a nice steady stream of coffee, not too fast, not too slow. And it should be pouring for about 25 to 35 seconds. 25 is the aim, 30 is probably about average. And we're aiming for a double espresso here because it's 20 grams in. We'll get about 40 mils of coffee out, 40 to 50 mils of coffee out. You usually go for about a 2-to-1, which I know for a fact is about there. And that's an espresso, a double espresso technically. Traditionally, an espresso is only like 8 grams of coffee and like a shot of 16 mils out. So I get my little mug cup here, wait for it to stop dripping, and there we go. Lovely crema on top. Dan, hello. Barista Paul, there certainly is. Right, there we go. Lovely. And that is double espresso. But while we're here, let's not have it just like that. Let's have some milk frothing on the go. Now I'm not very good at frothing milk, so this might go wrong again. But yes, let's get that in there. So I've got a a jug of milk in here. Got my thermometer so I know exactly where. You see it on there. There's a red zone. If you go above that, then the proteins in the, I think it's the proteins, or the fats, or something in the milk starts breaking down and it starts tasting weird. So you never want to go over that. So what I'm doing here is I'm injecting hot steam, basically.
Hi, welcome back. Certainly glad
So what
you could
this does,
join
it
us
takes
today.
the hot steam from the machine and it will warm up the milk, but also inject air bubbles. And if you put the one near the top of the milk, it grabs in more air and that's what makes it all frothy. And there we go, you can see perfectly within the red line there. Although not many bubbles got into it this time. So, I don't think it's going to be as frothy as I want. But it's at least hot milk. No, it's not really got much froth in it this time. I wasn't very good at getting air into it. But that's fine, I can just have a hot milk espresso thingy. It'll still taste pretty good. It's a Is there any way to do a one-off sub? Yeah, I think you can just sub for... Well, no, you'd have to cancel the subscription. You have to cancel the subscription, that's annoying. Demper, 10 whole minutes. What? No, months. 10 months, Demper. God, you don't know how time works. Thank you for the tier 1. Thank you very much. Cozy sound, but also sounds like supernatural screeching. Yep. Yep. I am literally forcing water into milk and the milk is screaming. Make a heart. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough froth. So what we did get was this, which is damn tasty, I'll tell you that. Luckily, this is in my Ember mug, so that'll keep nice and warm at about 55 degrees. Not too hot, not too cold. So I can make another coffee now. I always make 2 for Lego building. I feel like you would find Aztec Death whistling fascinating. Oh, what? Is that like a ritual they do when someone dies? Months are shorter than minutes, aren't they? They certainly seem that way, Demper. Oh my god, they certainly seem that way. Okay. Oh, Dogger wants me to play with a toy. There you are. Okay. So now we've got that one prepped. I can have that when we're building Lego. We're going to move on to the coffee bag filter thing. Let me turn off the espresso machine. Ow. That was hot. Let's get on to this. So, my friend goes to Japan pretty much once a year. And when they go to Japan, they like to get little presents for people. And she tends to get me some pretty good presents. Sometimes she gets those, I don't know what the little balls are, I can't remember what they are. The little balls in the machine, and they come out, and then you get like little toys. I got this Dragon Ball person at one point. I have no idea who it is, but she gave me that one. She gave me many things. She was the one who bought me the Vietnamese coffee fin filter, which I've been showing off recently. Because she is of Vietnamese origin, although I think she moved to Australia when she was like probably like 2, so she has a very thick Australian accent. One of my favourite colleagues at work. Who knew hot coffee was hot? I know, right? I know. Pachinkos. That's correct. Yes. But yes, she got me, this time around, she got me a little package of some beans, some of these filters, a drip pack as it is. And you'll see there's like a weird bag thing, filter thing that goes on top of the cup. And you filter it. But what also came in that package was the bean, the clay bean, this thing. Bison Coffee Dammer, if you want to look it up. And it's a clay bean, well, it's a clay like thing, but it's in shape of a coffee bean. And it's, what it's supposed to do is you put it into your coffee for about 20 to 30 seconds, I think it said. and it removes bitterness. So we did this when I first did this. You see there, you stick it in for 20 to 30 seconds, and it removes the bitterness, which is, you know, pretty cool. I mean, if your coffee's that bitter, it's probably not a great roast, or you haven't made it in the right way. Because there is a way that I always say that if you don't like the taste of coffee, you've just been given bad coffee. Because yes, coffee is naturally bitter, but there is a way of brewing it in a way that it's reduced bitterness and it tastes pretty good. And plus you can always add things like milk, sugar, things like that. So, coffee bag, there it is. It's completely sealed, has these little weird flaps on it, has like a tearaway thing at the top. And what happens is you tear the thing, you pull the flaps out, and then it sits on the mug, and it's just a coffee filter made of like this weird, rather smooth, bless you, dog sneezed, rather smooth paper stuff. I actually don't know if it is paper. It must be paper if I'm able to tear it like this, right? Just boiling the kettle in the background. So you tear it off. And there we go. And we have our coffee. And I think these are quite popular over there, is having filters in this way. One bag filters in this way. Also very jealous of your friend for going to Japan once a year. Yeah, they just like to go. I mean, they obviously didn't do it during the pandemic, but they just love Japan so much. They go to mainly like Tokyo area, but exploring a different area each time. Like, oh, she went to the Pokemon Center and got me some Pokemon stuff one year. Can I read kanji? Can I hell? Can I hell read kanji? I used the Google Lens app, the Google Translate app, to translate it to understand what I have to do. It was pretty straightforward when I realised it. Right, so you have this like little bag that sort of sits there like that, and then what you're supposed to do is at the end, if you don't like how bitter the coffee is, you stick your bean in for 20 seconds. And then it does actually reduce. We did this on stream. It does 100% reduce the bitterness and like those harshness of the coffee. It's not quite as effective as putting sugar and milk in, because sugar is sweet, which counteracts those flavors. The proteins and various things and fats and stuff in milk counteract those flavors, hence why we use those. But it does work. It does. I even used this the other day on a non-bag coffee. I think I used it on a this bag of coffee when I made a terrible espresso. It was coming out way too slow, so it was over extracted and it was slightly bitter. It was only slightly over extracted, but it was bitter. So I stuck that in. Perfect. It worked. It just worked. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a coffee. No, I have to be careful with this. Don't overfill it, because you have to keep filling it up. So this would be no different from a pour over sort of method, V60 sort of method. It's obviously there's different parameters here, but it's not it's not immersion sort of brewing where it's constantly in contact with water. The water's running through it. So it's not like the other coffee bags we have over here in the UK now, where it's like a tea bag, where you stick it in there and you leave it in there for a bit. That's basically immersion brewing. That's no different from French press or AeroPress. That's no different. But this is a rather weird method. It says 90 degrees C, which I don't know, about right. 200 cc's, which for those who don't know is 200 milliliters. Yeah, it's odd. They use cc's and not milliliters. But this mug is about 200. It says 200 to 250, so this mug is about 220, I think. So it will get to a point where it's touching the bottom of the bag. I'm not too worried about that. But we do just need to keep topping it up. If I had a gooseneck kettle, I would be doing this very, very slowly, like I would a pour over. Like I would a pour over. There's a delivery driver outside. Okay, he's not delivering to me. That's fine. There we go. See, it's almost at the top there. I think we'll just do that again. Where am I going to stick this? Because it's going to be wet. Let's stick it on the espresso machine. But there we go. There we are. And you can just chuck the whole thing away. Entirely disposable. Which is a little bit wasteful. I suppose it would be biodegradable to a certain extent. Try and get as much of this water out. Come on. Oh God, that's just dripping everywhere. Oh, there we go. There's my cup of coffee. Oh, I didn't move the camera. I do apologize. You had the top-down view at least. So let's give it a taste, just as is. It's not too bad. There is like a little bitterness to it. So what I am going to do is stick my little bean in. And you stick it in. And the thing is, that's reusable, that bean, apparently. You just got to rinse it. Which, to my brain, doesn't make sense. Because in order to change the properties of the coffee, it's either absorbing something or it's like dissolving part of itself. It's a clay thing, so it must be dissolving part of itself, right? But how does that work where you can just take it out and rinse it later and it's perfectly fine to go? Unless the rinsing, maybe it takes a coating of something and the rinsing gets rid of it. Because it must be changing the coffee in some way. It's not a placebo effect either, because I 100% did taste completely different flavors last time and have since. So it does work. It does work multiple times. There you go. That was about 20 seconds, I think. So I can just stick it to the side. Let's give it a taste. Yeah. I mean, that bitterness has mellowed. It's still there, but it's mellowed. And this would be perfectly drinkable black now. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's weird. It's weird that works. I like it. I like that I have that now as a thing, and it can rescue cups, which is great. It can, anytime you go, oh, that's too bitter, stick that in, and it might just cut the edge off. A very haunting and cool sound, the wailing. let me give a listen to this. You won't hear this on stream. Hopefully. That's hauntingly beautiful. That's amazing. That's an awesome whistle. But yes, I could drink this black. I am not going to drink black because I don't drink black coffee that often. I don't ever put sugar in unless I'm doing like a caramel coffee sort of latte thing. But I will be putting in the rest of this milk just to take that edge off. And there we go. There we are. Oh, it's a very good coffee. It's a dark roast. And it's darker than that dark roast. So I'm tripping over the dog's ball. What are you doing? Are you trying to kill me? Hi. Yes, you. Yes, you're a menace. It's a darker roast than this is what I call a dark roast, but it's a dark roast than that. It's not quite as dark as a Starbucks roast. But they've definitely done a dark roast for that Japanese coffee. Which is, I mean, it's not bad. Will you stop trying to trip me up, please? Oh. You want to come back up again? There we go, while I talk. There we go. Yeah, stand on the desk. There we go. Yeah, it's interesting flavors. You can definitely tell it's a dark roast, though. But it's not a horrible dark roast. Some roasts are just too dark, like Starbucks. The whole point, I won't go on my rant again, but the whole point, I like Starbucks. I drink Starbucks, but they have a very dark roast, and they stick so much sugar or so much milk in it that you can't taste that darkness of it. Like, they counteract it so much. You're very heavy. It doesn't taste clay. No, it doesn't taste clay at all. That's the weird thing. Like, I don't think it's the clay that's doing, like, dissolving into the coffee. I think it's more, it's taking some of that bitterness, whatever causes that. Tannins, I think. It's the same thing. Coffee has the same stuff that red wine has. I think it's tannins. And it's, maybe it's taking a coating, and that's why you have to rinse it. Not as dark as Starbucks roast, so it's not burnt. Well, welcome on in, Erudite Gaming. I've said it many times. Starbucks, Starbucks is based off Italian roast. Now, if you look at roast levels, there's like, there's blonde, there's there's light, there's medium, there's dark, there's things like French roast, there's things like Italian roast, and I think there's even darker than those. Obviously, the way you get through that is you apply it, depending on your roasting method, like whether it's drum roasting or whatever, you're just putting heat into it. You're putting dry heat into it, and the whole point is you're kind of getting the bean to open up its pores in some way. And dark roast is less dense than light roast, because the pores are more open, more of the inside sort of steam and whatever, all that is coming out. It's come out during because you apply heat longer. I don't think, off the top of my head, depends on the roasting method, I don't think you apply hotter heat, you just apply it for longer. So they've just applied it for longer, which means that it's just, like you say, cooked more, burned. But it's a valid, it's just how they used to do it. I think we've refined the roasting method a lot more these days. I've tempted to like getting to all the roasting stuff and figure out how you do roast, because yes, hello, did you have something to say? I'm in the middle of something here. Oh, so cute. There's so many people who think they don't like coffee because Starbucks is their primary exposure. Yes, and I said it before, said it earlier, I've said it many times. I don't think you hate coffee. I think you've just been given bad coffee. You've been given a coffee either which is too over roasted, or extracted poorly, so it's sour or bitter. It's over extracted, under extracted. You've been given it in a bad format. Maybe for you it doesn't work when it's a espresso, but it might work when it's a pour over. All these, there's so many. It's chemistry. There's so many factors that go into coffee making that you can't just say I don't like coffee. because unfortunately the mainstream coffee, which is either instant coffee, which is all right, it's not the best, it works, or Starbucks like coffee, which is horrible, and they have to mask it. They have to put, like, you can get this much coffee and then that much milk. They have to do that. They have to put 2 like giant teaspoons of syrup in because it has to mask the flavor for the general public. I don't call Starbucks coffee. Fair enough. Fair enough. The thing is, it means the whole Starbucks trend means that people are tending to roast beans darker in general because they want to like get nearer that, because that's what people in general like, or are used to, is probably the better way to say it. But like, this is why I like Monmouth Coffee and the slightly more expensive coffee roasting companies, because they understand what light roast and dark roast is. This is a dark roast. And we had Starbucks, I got the festive blend, didn't I? Probably about a month ago, a couple of weeks ago. And it said it was a medium roast for Starbucks, which was over the dark roast for normal coffee. They actually acknowledged it on the back, you know, that they roast darker. So at least they're self-aware. But some places are roasting darker these days, and they tend to be darker because I don't know if it's like a mass production thing where they're like, well, if we go a bit darker, it means that all our stuff is more consistent, or not. Because if the ratios of the various varieties of coffee they're mixing in are slightly off, it won't matter as much on a dark roast as it would for a light roast. Light roast, you get more of those floral flavors, more of those deep, the lighter sort of tasting things, which you don't get at all in a Starbucks. It's just, maybe it's just a consistency thing as well. I don't know. I really don't know. But if you ever have, like, if you get the Starbucks beans from a shop and try and do it in any other way apart from the way they do it, it doesn't taste anywhere near as good as just other coffee. I think they're just set in the way that they do things. They're set in their ways of lots of sugar, lots of milk, other things, watering it down with ice. Those things work for that roast. Costa in the UK, they're not quite as dark, but they are, you know, that's an Italian blend as well. That's an Italian roast. It's it's funny. It's so funny that all these big coffee places are like that. But Costa do in the summer a cold brew, which is much nicer. Like, they actually make a decent coffee there. And I don't know if it's using the same blend, but a cold brew is a bit more watered down anyway, so you wouldn't taste that as much. It's like saying you don't like food. Exactly. It's kind of like saying I don't like Chinese food. Like, I don't like this subset of food. But like, there's so much going on in that subset of food. You can't say I don't like that. I don't like some of the flavors they put into it. Fair enough. But there's ways around it. And if you get a professional or someone who knows what they're doing to make you a coffee. I have made a coffee for someone who said they didn't like coffee. And I'm not saying I'm professional. I'm barely saying I know what I'm doing. But they went, yes, that is, I could drink that. And then, you know, I then upped the sugar and milk in it a bit. And they were like, yeah, actually, that's really good. I said, there's nowhere near as much sugar or milk in that as you would a Starbucks, you know. So it's all about the chemistry. There has to be an economic advantage to it. Yep, true. Must be easier for them to just roast everything at the same level. I was dumbfounded when I realised the numbers they put on the package of cups doesn't indicate the strength, but more how long it's been roasted. Yes, that's actually a very good point. Do I still have the bag here? I don't know. I think I threw one away. Do I have another one? There we go. So, this is a 3. This is a 3. Typically, they are 1, 2, 6. Although the numbers don't really mean anything. 3 is not the strength, as in it's not how strong it will taste. 3 is not the amount of caffeine in there. You have some coffees that are like, it's a 6, it's a 7. We've put extra. We've actually injected caffeine into this coffee. No, load of nonsense. That is just how long it's been roasted. That means a 3 is slightly more roasted, as in it's been roasted for a little bit longer, therefore it'll be a slightly darker roast than a 2, and slightly lighter roast than a 4. That's all that means. The strength of the caffeine, the strength of the taste. I mean, the caffeine doesn't make a difference these days. Like, a light roast and a dark roast used to have slightly different caffeine levels. With modern roasting techniques, they don't. They're pretty much the same. So you won't ever get more caffeine out of one than another. Unless somehow they are literally soaking it in pure caffeine and absorbing the caffeine somehow. Load of nonsense. But, taste. It's not stronger taste if it's a higher number, because taste is determined by your brewing method. Like, my espresso tastes stronger than my AeroPress of the same thing, but it doesn't mean it is stronger. I mean, arguably it is, but it doesn't mean it is. So this is just the roast level. And it may taste stronger because dark roasts tend to taste, that dark roast flavor. The darker the roast, the flavor of coffee, that normal coffee. And I say that because of Starbucks and they're just generally getting the public to say, this is the flavor of coffee now. That flavor comes out more with dark roast. With light roast, you get more of the underlying flavor tones and less of that harsh coffee flavor. But yeah, that number means pretty much nothing apart from comparing two of the same people. You can't compare two different brands either because they might roast it in a different way, and that number means nothing. That's what that means. At this point, it's catch-22, and they can't switch because none of their drinks that people go to the shop for would taste the same. Well, that's why they've introduced, Starbucks have introduced the blonde roast, which is meant, they call it the blonde roast, but it's not a blonde roast. A blonde roast is barely roasted, okay? It's lighter than light. But they call it their blonde roast, and that would be slightly darker than my dark roast, but only slightly. I would maybe say it's on par with that dark roast. But I think they've had to introduce that because, like you say, they've got themselves in a position where they can only do the super dark roast, and they might want to start switching it up. This coffee was soaked in Red Bull. There's so much nonsense in the coffee world. The number is a flavor proximity to coal. It's a 3% like coal. It's only 3% carbon, pure carbon. I mean, I used to believe all that nonsense before I got into this coffee stuff, and I mean, I still don't know half of the stuff, but at least I'm more well aware of the stupid practices. Because I've tried those Death Wish coffees and oh god, whatever the other ones were called. I've tried a load of them. Rocket Fuel. Oh, have you heard of Rocket Fuel? God, I tried that in university. I mean, it kept me awake, but tastes like literally like burnt mud. It's there's a lot of nonsense out there. If Starbucks ever introduce actual blonde roast, they will literally have to market it as raw and ripe beans. Do I have a list of brands I recommend anywhere? I don't have a list like to hand, but I mean UK-based people. I'm not really sure about international at the moment, but like I recommend Monmouth Coffee. They do some good decaf as well. Again, decaf. You can have decent decaf. It's a very valid. I've had decaf. I can't even tell that it's decaf. Okay, and these are some that do it. I'd be wary of coffee subscriptions, but there are some good ones out there. Packed coffee in the UK is pretty good. I've been told about 2 more. Which I need to try, but they're subscriptions, so I need to get onto that. Where's my book? I was writing a list of all my good coffee. I then stopped because ADHD, but one of my favorite coffees is there's like a food place around Yorkshire called Lewis and Cooper. Now, my partner's family lives up there, so it's quite handy, so I can get coffee quite a lot. But Lewis and Cooper do an amazing coffee. A Colombian roast is really good. Where's the one? There was one. Penny Rock. Penny Rock was pretty decent, wasn't it? Yeah. Penny Rock. I think that might have been the one from the Lake District. Penny Rock. Who made it? Penny Rock. It's Penny. Red Bank Coffee Roasters. That's the one. They were good coffee. There was also one in Cardiff I can't remember the name of, but I've got like the bag in there somewhere. I've got like a big stack of bags I need to go through. Other things, I do try we do meme sometimes on this channel, and I've tried things like the Beanies flavored, no sugar, low calorie, vegan, no nuts, instant coffee. You can watch me try a lot of those on my VODs over on YouTube. There are a couple left. These are not good. Do not try these ever. Don't do it. Don't do it. The ones I have left are mint chocolate, amaretto almond, and chocolate orange. But we've tried bubblegum flavor. We've tried white chocolate and raspberry flavor. We've tried, white chocolate and raspberry was probably the worst because it tastes like feet. Cookie dough, caramel popcorn. Yeah, don't try those. Don't ever have those. Don't do it. I don't recommend that. Other coffee I do recommend, Top of the Morning coffee, which is the coffee made by Jacksepticeye. It's actually really good. It's actually a decent coffee. And if only it didn't cost 20 quid for shipping, I would get it over here. But I have tried it. I have a bag right here. Dunkin' Donuts. This was a surprising coffee, because I was told that Dunkin' Donuts is a very, very, very good coffee from people in America. And I was like, okay, we do have Dunkin' Donuts over the UK, but it's like their coffee isn't really, like, it's just the donuts. Like Tim Hortons has started coming over here as well. I haven't tried their coffee yet. But, so I got a bag of this. Bloody good. It is actually a really good coffee. I'll have a think of others. But there you go. There's some recommendations right now. My heart thanks you for the knowledge. You give quality decaf a go. I do recommend Monmouth. I'm not sure because Monmouth coffee sort of like rotate throughout the year. But if you can get them, do it. I don't know if they ship internationally for those not in the UK. Oh, the decaf this time is the decaf for Zenda IP, which is the one I have the full cap of here. Now this is a good coffee. It's not as good as my the other one I've got, but I was trying this I think last week, the week before. It's a dark roast. It's all right. It's pretty decent. That'll be a decent decaf. But they sometimes do decaf of some of the other ones. But yeah, I reckon that'll be a good one. Sunny, hello, I'm on a train. Where are you on the train to? US people told me Dunkin' Donuts as like as a fast food sort of place to get coffee is good. That's what UK people, US people told me. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a go, you know. And it was actually pretty good. It was pretty decent coffee. It wasn't the best I've had, wasn't the worst. It certainly was better than some of the coffees we get in some fast food places like McDonald's and whatnot. Now McDonald's coffee, at least over here, it's all right. But I think it's a dark roast, and it's a bit too dark. You're on a train home, you visited friends last night, and you spent the night. Ooh. Well, I hope you had a nice time. Get up to anything fun? Yeah, I think. Trying to think if there's any other. I mean, if you're into other coffee making methods, so I have the espresso machine. I have my automatic Wi-Fi connected drip machine over here, which is just like the big pour over sort of drip through things. You know, the big jug type. That was my first coffee machine. It's Wi-Fi enabled, so I can actually ask Google to do it. I don't ever do that, but it was handy at the time. I can control the settings on an app. That's why I got it. I stick that on when I'm having a bad day in work and I need a lot of coffee, but I rarely use that. But because I'm using good beans, it's still good coffee. My daily coffee thing, making device is my AeroPress. If you're gonna get a coffee making device, get an AeroPress. Hashtag not spawned, but there is an affiliate link probably below my face. Down here somewhere. Because my God, this is like so easy to use and so hard to fuck up. Like, you stick a paper filter in, you stick it on your cup, you put your coffee in, you fill it with water, you stick the plunger in because it creates a little bit of suction. You leave it for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, however long you want. You push it all the way down, and then that's your coffee done. And then at the end, you just push the plunger all the way through and it scrapes everything out, and you can just rinse it and go again. It's impossible to fuck up because it's really hard to over-extract immersion brewing. Get one of those. They're amazing. I've got a mocha pot, which is a lovely way of making coffee. There's a lot of mindfulness stuff here where you're just like watching coffee brew and stuff. That is a lovely way of making coffee on the stove, on a hob. And I've got a pour over filter and a French press thing, which is not here at the moment because I used that the other day and I need to rinse it out. French press cafetières are extremely annoying to clean, but the pour over bit is really nice. It's just like a V60 filter that sits on top of the jug. But this is my Vietnamese Phin, Phin, and you stick your little Vietnamese coffee in there. You can get special Vietnamese blends, and then you just stick that on your mug, stick some water in it, and it'll slowly drip through. And that's a lovely coffee. Very strong coffee. The Vietnamese coffee I get is very nutty, tastes very hazelnutty, and you typically put condensed milk with that, so it's got very high sugar. And boy, do you wake up from that one. Tabukin, hello. Billy Mays here, getting there. Oh my god, I should do a little ad thing, shouldn't I? Oh, but get an AeroPress, they're awesome. Because they're good for traveling. I take it whenever I go on holiday, I take it with me. It's great, and I use it every day, pretty much. You love hazelnut? Well, if you like coffee as well, the Vietnamese coffee, Trung Nguyen, that one is the one I use. It's, oh, it smells really nice. But you can only have one a day, and you should have it in the morning, because if you have it anytime after midday, you are not sleeping until 3 o'clock in the morning. Because the condensed milk, combined with the strength of that coffee, really just keeps you. I use that when I'm in work and I need to concentrate, just power through. You can have them iced as well. It's great. Other things I have is like cold brew and iced coffee making methods. But that's basically everything I have. And if you ever want to watch me do one or learn about it, come along on a Sunday and we'll do one. I think that's the end of coffee time. I think I've talked enough about coffee for one day, right?